Hello, I'm Bella Yongho Kim. I truly appreciate you coming to my artist talk. I'm an honor to present my work at BIMA, and installing such a large piece is a dream come true moment for myself. And I'd like to thank BIMA and its director, Greg, and Jenna, and all the BIMA staff. And I also give special thanks June and Bo. The title, Transformations, means both the changes in recyclable materials and my own transformation. As an artist, woman, and mother, moving from Korea and living in the US have been challenging. But the diverse culture here allowed me to find my identity and the direction of my art. Let's begin the 5 pieces currently featured at BIMA. Arirang 2.0, displayed in the beacon window, was inspired by the Korean traditional song, Arirang. This song is known by every Korean, regardless of age or whether they live in the north or south. It's like a national anthem passed down through hundreds of years without clear origin or formal teaching. Inspired by the melody and dance of Arirang, I expressed the idea of crossing over mountains. In this work, various colors represent human joy or desire, while white and transparent elements symbolize idealism, noble spirit, transcendence. Arirang is a proper name, but Arirang 2.0 means my version of Arirang. I'd like to share the Arirang song. Yeah, just short the main part. I just played the main part. When the repetitive process was tough, I hummed Arirang and overcame it, just like the song's lyrics. My proposal was selected last year, and I worked on this piece in my studio, imagining it in the beacon window. Now I realize that even small, repetitive daily tasks can have great meaning. Save Big is the largest piece in my Jogakbo Journey series. The title implies that the more we recycle materials, the more we save our environment. The word Jogakbo is a combination of Jogak and Bo, which mean peace and wrap respectively. The beauty of Jogakbo patterns is now recognized for their artistic value, and many fiber artists use them in their artworks. Another piece from the Jogakbo Journey series, Into Green, is inspired by the view from my studio. It shows a forest scene with an illusion of rain and a window. Rooting Tree was created in 2022 during the Takuma residency program. My piece uses various colors and materials to illustrate how diverse people and cultures can come together and thrive. This photo shows the exhibit installation. I collaborated with Korean American artist group members. While I worked on large-scale installations, I also like to make small works through my explorations. Zen Tangle combines Zen meditation, tangle a doodle. 오방색 means 5 colors based on the 5-element theory of ancient Oriental philosophy. I used my sewing machine to freely create patterns without drawing sketches. Currently, only 3 colors are displayed in this show. My work is deeply rooted in Korean cultural background. The photos show different styles of Jogakbo. During Korean holidays in the US, my family put on Korean costumes, hanbok, to share our traditions. Return of Jogakbo is a piece created using recyclables in my surroundings, rather than traditional fabric materials. Despite that, this piece successfully conveyed the distinctive beauty of Korea to viewers, and I reaffirmed my identity as an artist. In my other works, I used more plastic packaging, evolving my technique and developed new non-traditional styles. This particular type of piece was traditionally used for covering meals. The title, Embracing Love, represents the love and the care of a family waiting for members who missed mealtime. I conveys a message of missing someone. It conveys a message of missing someone and saving the meal for them. This is Winter Tidings, an installation. I added lights to bring more seasonal joy. This is my first exhibition photo in Korea. The theme was Apple Story, and I was exploring textile dyeing at that time. You can see how I expressed lines and negative spaces in my early works. This shows my graduate thesis work titled The City Image. This piece is my last exhibition work before I left Korea in 1998. It combines 100 small crosses to form a large cross. The colors gradually lighten towards the top, symbolizing transcendence. Most of the pieces were given away, reflecting the title, Sharing. As mentioned earlier, I enjoyed combining lines, shapes, and empty spaces. These are essential elements of Jogakbo, and I reproduced the concept of recycling using my sewing machine. Now I would like to introduce my journey into recycling art, which began in my childhood. This is my family photo. I am at the center. Yes, big transformation. This is my family photo, yeah, and my parents who lived through the Japanese colonization and the Korean War taught me the importance of recycling through their practices and lessons. The tribute made from cigarette cases is one of my father's recycled works. I keep one with me, and it reminds me of my parents' spirit. When I was young, I wanted to make a skirt for Barbie doll, so I learned how to use a sewing machine from my grandmother. I used the neck of an old sock, and now I realized That was my first recycling project. I also used to copy the crafts and drawings of my two older sisters. The sewing machine on the left is the same type as my mother used to have. The right side photo shows a typical Korean bedroom, a typical traditional Korean bedroom. The bed linens were sewn by hand after washed occasionally. I remember the women in my family chatting and laughing while they put stitches. That childhood memory has always stirred my interest in sewing. These are also two important people for me. The left is my professor and mentor, Yeon-sun Jang, who is considered an experimentalist in Korean fiber art. The right is Jade Trivier, who is a conservationist and a longtime dear friend of mine. Her dedication to nature conservation inspired me to use recycled materials in my art. This is my secret about where I can get all my materials. Zero cost or priceless. When I open a new packaging, I try to cut it neatly. This habit started with my recycling projects. After washing, I hang them over the plants next to my kitchen. Once they are dry, I sort and store them by color and texture. I also keep leftover fabrics. These early grocery bags were created when I began focusing on recyclables just before the pandemic era. I gave the bags as gifts to friends who donated materials, which helped me gather even more. Later, I started using Amazon bubble packaging to speed up the production process. Nearly 100 bags were created during that time. After working on projects, I saved the scraps and used them to make small patch cards like these. Making cards is one of my favorite activities. It's like drawing sketches for me. During pandemic, I actually participated in local juried shows. A Dream of Spring has a see-through pattern. It's light and flexible. This pattern is now being used in scarves. In the refashion exhibition at Bainbridge Art and Craft, I presented rain ponchos, rain hats, and tote bags. In Korea, I experimented with various materials and forms. This large installation work is one example of my experiments. It used a hose wound by ropes. I was curious to explore lines and their flowing movements. We Wanna Dance is another work that explores the movement of lines. It reflects my emotional longing for freedom during the pandemic restrictions. This was my first work after joining Northwest Designer Craft Artist, inspired by traditional Korean shoes. The theme was fantasy footwear, and my piece, Pairing Up and Down, symbolizes the ups and downs of life and the need for balance. The white part symbolizes purity and selflessness, while the colorful part represents joy and desire. This is treasure packages from my Jogakbo Journey series. Inspired by traditional Korean boxes, ham, I created three-dimensional structures from two-dimensional Jogakbo. With this piece, I started using a double-sided technique, so it can be viewed from either side. While the double layers make it heavier and less flexible, they add some benefits. Mindful Whispers is also a reversible piece. The leaves resemble mouth, as if they are whispering. The recent work, Jack's Dream, was inspired by the Jack and the Beanstalk tale. Watching beans grow in my backyard, I felt a deep connection to the wonder of the story. I hope to continue grow the vines with the community someday, until they eventually cover the entire ceiling. Mindful Hermitage offers a place of rest while remaining connected to the outside world through each opening. The photo on the right shows the view looking up at the ceiling from inside. As an interactive artwork, it invites visitors to enter. These are pins made of the same material. Here are additional wearable pieces. Singing in the Rain is more playful, designed to make rainy days more enjoyable in the Pacific Northwest. And as a woman and mother, I have always found joy in working with my sewing machine. I will continue to work with recyclables, and I hope to move into community art, seeking a better and more sustainable world. Thank you for listening. Yeah, if you have a question, please ask me during Q&A time. Thank you.
Okay, well, I want to introduce myself. I'm a friend of Bella. My name is June Sekiguchi, and I'm an artist and a curator. And let's see, we have a similar, immigration experience, similar, a little bit different. I'm second-generation Japanese, born and raised in Arkansas, where there are very few Asians at that time in the 60s and 70s. And Bella is a first-generation Korean immigrant. So different, little bit different, decades of coming here, but, it's a shared experience. So, I always have empathy for people coming over here and making a new life. So we'll touch on that a little bit more. I also went to the University of California at Santa Barbara, and I studied studio art. So I was doing drawing and painting, and then now I'm doing public art and sculpture and installation. And I serve on the Asia Pacific Cultural Center board. We have the founder, Patsy Sir O'Connell, here in the house, building our new building after 29, 30 years. So she conceptualized this. She put all of her energy to this, serving 47 countries in the area of cultural programs, youth program, business, mental health, and I think they've added environmental activities. So I'm very proud to serve, and my service is the curator of the gallery. And I've worked with other art collectives throughout the area, and my day job is a curator at Era Living. They're high-end retirement communities that are committed to art as a way of engaging the public with the community. And so I was invited to do a professional development workshop with KAW. It's K-A-A-W, Korean American Artists of Washington. And so we did a Zoom, and I was just kind of sharing my process of art making and career development. And so I saw that KAW was, do you say KAW or do you call it KAW?
K-A-W?
Okay, can you say it all out?
Yeah.
Okay. Because KAW, it sounds kind of funny. But I saw this group was very dedicated to their art. They're very enthusiastic and just a rich group of artists. So in my curating, I thought, okay, I want to show the KAAW as a group. And so that's the first time I saw Bella's art.
Yeah, she inspired me a lot because it's same three-dimensional art pieces. So you inspired me, definitely.
Thank you. Well, I was struck by your work because of her experimental use of materials and that she wanted to say something in your art. So that's what I was drawn to. I have a few notes that I wanted to make sure I hit, but this will be kind of more of a conversation. Just more casual. So that was just all background about me and how I am connected with Bella. So what I mentioned was that I really responded to your use of materials, and what I see in Korean contemporary art is that there is, and what I'm drawn to is this kind of material-driven, kind of very refined aesthetic, and I'm thinking of like Doho Soo. And there's one artist named Ilwa Kim. Do you know that name? Okay. Use your mic.
Yeah, I heard the name. Yeah, they're
Okay.
big installation and very much more multimedia
Yes.
artists, right?
Yeah. And then your mentor, Yun-Sun Chang. So what I see a similarity with Bella and these other artists that are very well recognized is kind of this intense manipulation of little units, and then you can combine those to achieve scale. So that's what you've done here at the Beacon Window, and so I love the. I love the kind of intense workingness of something, and then you can achieve the size. And what I would like to add, I can add, just a little background about I was a spotlight juror, and one of the things that we really liked about Bella's installation was that it had this kind of like a draping effect. It's like a mountain, but it had this kind of drama of this draping, and Spotlight was to spotlight artists in our area, give light to them. So it seemed like a theatrical thing to have this kind of draping, large-scale thing to be in the window, along with the color. Can you talk more about the process of that making?
처음에는 제가 그 늘어지는 거를 우리나라의 불교 승화를 생각하면서 sublimation 그런 걸로 프로포즈를 했었어요. 그런데 그 다음에 제가 이제 발전을 시키면서 불교의 승화긴 한데 제가 아리랑을 늘 작품을 하고 싶었었고 그러다 보니까 이제 아리랑의 그 의미를 이렇게 자꾸 되새겨 보니까 아리랑이 결국 승화가 되는 스토리였구나라는 걸 깨닫게 되고 그거를 다시 아리랑으로 작품으로 풀어서 약간 처음에 프로포절하고는 약간 다르지만 결국 제 생각에는 아리랑과 승화는 결국 통한다고 생각을 했어요.
Yeah, it's first she think about like Buddhisms in her work, like how that spirit turn into the
sublimation. Some science. Yeah, it's a science.
It's a science terminology, so it's very difficult to say that it's the sublimations, because it may be more of a translation. Your spirit turn into something else, like from this, like
transcendence. So finally, I made this transcendence.
Transcendent. Probably that's the better vocabulary, I think, in this way. So she was thinking about that in her first initial proposal, but then she was when she was making this, she also think about Arirang, like when you heard that music from the her presentations, and the Arirang comes, and then it kind of connect with this spirit of Buddhism. So she all turn into that as how we all reach out and draping to the sky, I think.
Yeah, 이제 그 어두운 컬러에서 점점 흐려지는 컬러로 가서 결국은 클리어하게 되는 그런 의미가 제 작품에서 늘 그렇듯이 어두운 컬러는 어떤 욕심과 우리의 세상적인 것이라고 생각하고 화이트하고 이제 클리어한 거는 제가 이제 모든 것을 다 초월한 모든 것을 다 엠프티하는 그런 거라고 생각을 늘 했고 아마 우리 한국 사람들은 좀 그런 거를 많이 생각하지 않나 싶어요. 백의 민족 뭐 이런 것들 때문에 그렇죠? 예, 그래서 제가 더 컬러에 대해서 그렇게 만들었었어요.
So you see on her piece, the darkness on the bottoms were more of a like that you have desires, and darkness were symbolized like typical of that our life as a dark in our life, and then it getting a colorful, and at the end that it become white and clear. This is about
transcendence
and
noble spirit,
and so that's all come from that installations. In Korea, most of Korean peoples will get this meaning little easily because they were known as there is a terminology like a 백이 민족, which means like the Koreans were wearing white when they for the funerals and all those things. The white is symbolized that the Korean spirit a lot. So it kind of shows in her piece.
Yeah. Well, congratulations on that, because it's a brilliant, beautiful piece. And because I know Bella and her work, and I've seen smaller pieces, and the sculptural ones are kind of like spheres or boxes. And so this was a challenge, and she rose to the challenge to achieve that scale. So, I think all of us in the jury could see that she could do that. So
that's
anyway.
why I hum Arirang. Arirang made me overcome that situation. It's very repetitive activity every day, same round. Teaching was a little tough.
Yeah. I mentioned some of the artists that I kind of reminded me of your process. Who do you look to? Like, what artists inspire you, or movements?
제가 그렇게 인스파이어 받은 작품하고 작가하고는 비슷한 작품을 하지 않은 것 같아요. 저는 근데 조각보 때문에 조각보라는 거는 재료가 그 리사이클 머티리얼이 다 큰 것이 없기 때문에 제가 그것을 하기 위해서 작은 피스들이 모일 수밖에 없었기 때문에 처음에 조각보를 생각할 수밖에 없었어요. 제 작품을 미싱으로 박다 보니까. 그래서 작가라기보다는 조각보가 현재 저한테 많이 도움을 줬어요.
Yeah, there is no particular like artist or like name that she got inspired. She probably say that her process, the Jogakbo, which is more traditional, that 보자기 styles were inspire her, and because of that she collecting all this recycled material, and they are start with a very small, so that the Jogagbos will naturally inspire her and helping her to build this piece.
Yeah. I really love how you're drawing on your culture to create your authentic, new original works. Is there anything else like Jogakbo or is it Bodjagi? Is there anything in your culture that is another form of inspiration that you're thinking about? That
모든 공예품들이 정말 그러니까 우리가 생활에서 필요한 그 공예품들이 이렇게 많이 와닿았고 그거를 지금 자꾸 제가 연구하게 되는 이유가 결국은 제가 엄마고 그 여자로서 미싱은 이렇게 바느질을 통해서 만들다 보니까 공예품에 좀 더 집중이 가고요. 보자기하고 조각보하고 우리는 다 알고 있지만 보자기는 큰 솔리드 피스로 만든 거고 조각보는 조각조각 이어서 만드는 그런 거를 같은 래핑 크로스지만 그렇게 얘기를 하는데 그것뿐만 아니라 다른 아까도 제가 멘션했던 우리나라의 전통적인 어떤 그런 것들 함도 재밌고 또 족두리 아니면은 코스튬도 다 정말 재밌고 지금 현재 그 미적인 것들을 많이 레코그나이즈 해주는 것 같아요. 예.
Yeah. She inspired from the craft, like things that you can easily find around you. So the other things that she also inspires that you see the wearable art and the headpiece, and those were also the box that is inspire her to making pieces.
Great. It was really fun to see your work from the past, like the work that you did in school. I see a connection, the abstraction of the paintings that you did, the grid or the squares and kind of the cityscape, the squiggly. But there's some connection still in your current work. Yeah. Yeah. And then I got to do a studio visit at Bella's studio and, saw the current work she's working on for this beacon window, but also you had on the wall, it was again this kind of modular units. They're kind of geometric little textural puffed up forms, and then they're all added together to create these beautiful paintings out of fabric and, geometric forms. Can you talk about your transformation, or how do you transition from that kind of work or early days at school, those things I'm just mentioning, the geometric, to now it's quite different?
그러니까 학교 다닐 때는 제가 염색을 전공했었고 섬유 염색이었기 때문에 그때는 평면적인 걸 했었어요. 그래서 그때는 조금 이제 3디멘션을 안 하다가 이제 점차적으로 미국이 아니라 졸업하고 난 다음에 그때 이제 실험적인 작품을 많이 했었어요. 그래서 그때는 이제 점점 제가 천을 가지고 3디멘션을 만드는 걸 자꾸 실험을 했고, 그리고 제 교수님이 워낙 그 실험적인 걸 많이 하시는 분이라서 그분하고 같이 작품을 하면서 제가 아주 실험적인 걸 많이 하고, 이곳에 와서는 제가 할 수 있는 게 없어서 처음에는 앤틱 리페어를 하다가 그 다음에 점차적으로 핀을 만들고 핀과 가방 만들면서 그렇게 더 계속 3디멘션을 발전시켰던 것 같아요. 그리고 현재는 조각보를 나중에 이제 제가 도입을 해서 이렇게 만들었고, 그 중간의 단계는 제가 이런 핀이나 백 같은 거를 만들었었어요.
So when she was in Korea, that she's majoring in fiber art, and as you see in her slide, her mentor, she does the most experimental pioneer in fiber art in Korea. So she's done the experimental work during that time, and when she came to in US, and she start with something small and she worked at the antique repair shop before, so she worked in the small accessory pieces, and then that's slowly grow up because she probably have the background on that experimental work.
So I saw the Spaceworks, Tacoma Spaceworks artist residency, and you did that with Patsy and Son, and they did big, large-scale trees. You saw them, the tree ink paintings, and then Bella, you added the tree, sculptural tree. Was that the first time you did kind of like that large scale of a sculptural piece? I know you've done smaller spheres, geometric forms, but
Yeah, that kind of big tree is my first time practiced, I think.
I could hear the audience go, back there. It's quite stunning. Do you see yourself doing sculptural things more? Like, where do you see yourself going?
제가 어디로 갈지는 모르지만, 예, 아니 저는 그 제 재료를 갖고 뭐든지 그냥 만들고 싶어요. 근데 현재는 뭐 3dimension, 뭐 2dimension 상관없이 제가 이제 조금 더 어떤 거를 내가 말하고 싶은 걸 좀 더 만들어가고 싶고, 그리고 저는 웨어러블 아트도 되게 관심이 있고, 그래서 사실은 아직은 특별한 계획은 없고 내년에 TCC에서 우먼에 대한 여성에 관한 그 전시가 있는데 그거 준비하고 있어요.
Currently, that she's a little unclear about the directions. I think her process of making is depend on the material mostly. So it's not about scales and not about product. So she can use all this material to do all over this, include wearable art piece. Her work is more concept driven, not the product driven. And the other one that she mentioned is that she preparing a TCC, the women's show.
그룹으로 네 사람이 하는
Group shows were coming soon at the TCC.
Yeah, next year, and include Patch of O'Connell. Yeah, we are going to have a woman exhibition, just a theme about woman theme.
So you're pretty much strictly using post-consumer recyclable materials. So I know you're not talking about the end result, but the materials. Have you thought of other post-consumer materials like tin? Like the last time I was here, I was at Kathy Ross's talk, and I can so see, like incorporation of other things that are, again, tied into her philosophy of environmentalism. So,
예, 저는 이제 미싱을 갖고 이제 하는 걸 좋아하니까 그 미싱으로 스티치를 같이 합할 수 있는 거는 뭐든지 생각을 하고 있어요. 그래서 종이나 아니면 뭐 가죽도 가죽이야 당연히 되는 거고 종이 아니면은 약간 플라스틱 중에서도 조금 단단한 것들, 그러니까 미싱으로 할 수 있는 모든 거는 제가 생각하고 있습니다.
Well, she have to use the sewing machine. So she's thinking about paper, leather, but anything that allowed her to make a stitch.
yeah, that's great. It's exciting. We'll see what happens. Do you have a daily studio practice, or are you project oriented and you work towards the project?
제가 요번에 비컨 윈도우 아리랑 때문에 매일같이 정말 일하듯이 직장 가듯이 그 내 스튜디오 다운스테어에 있는 그 스튜디오에 가는 게 정말 직장 가는 것 같았는데 사실은 그동안은 프로젝트 위주로 작업을 했고 이번에는 진짜 매일같이 하면서 정말 드디어 아티스트로서 매일같이 데일리 그 태스크를 함으로써 그 풀어 나갈 수 있는 게 있고 또 제가 성취할 수 있는 거를 정말 느꼈기 때문에 이제는 매일같이 할 것 같습니다.
Before she worked project by project, but this big project that she have to work every day, and so she have to go down to her studio every day, and so that actually she learned a lot of things from that exercise, like a daily task. So she work like that for the future. She work every day and like a job.
Yeah, that's great. Well, are we winding up? I have one last thing. So Bella is this rising star. I mean, things are happening, boy. And, it takes a lot of work. And, you don't just go in the studio and then you get to show somewhere. You have to apply for shows. We're both on Northwest, in the membership of Northwest Designer Craft Artists. So you have to put your slides together and apply. Like, how much of your life is doing the business of art?
제가 그냥 만드는 거는 좋아하는 사람인데요. 최근에 이제 제가 미술인 협회 회장을 한 다음에 제가 열심히 제가 먼저 발전을 보여야 돼 갖고 웹사이트를 만들고 그다음에 여기저기 로컬 아티스트 쇼에 이제 어플라이를 했고 그러면서 사람들이 관심을 가져주는 걸 느꼈어요. 그다음에 이제 제가 조금 더 적극적으로 좀 더 어플라이를 했었는데 현재는 저는 제가 능력이 그 정도로 여러 가지를 할 수 있을지 사실은 걱정이 되고 예, 그러네요. 제가 말이
like a typical artist, she liked to spend her time for the making and creating art process, not the business side. But because of it, she's also the member of KAAW, Korean KAAW, right? KAAW. So because of it, she got the president positions last year.
Yeah.
So she made the website and she applied and she tried to be promote and all those things, but she's not sure that she can continue on that.
yeah.
Well, we'd love to open it up for questions from the audience.
Is this working? Is it on? I was curious, Bella, if you pay any attention to the text on the materials you're using, or is it just color, or how does the cutting of the words factor in, if at all?
그거에 나 패키징에 나오는 글씨. Did you see the the letter, the packaging letter? Yeah. At the beginning, 처음에는 내가 글씨를 생각 안 했었는데 그 다음에는 하다 보니까 글씨가 보여서 재미있는 글씨는 또 일부러 제가 그걸 오려서 또 하기도 했었어요. 그래서 지금 어떤 때는 그거를 조금 더 신경을 쓰고 어떤 때는 그냥 색깔 매치로 하고 예 그리고 또 재질에 따라서 또 제가 그거를 선별을 해야 돼요. 패키징에 여러 가지 재질이 있어서 예.
She cares mostly color and textures, not much of text. But while she's working, that she realized there's text, and so sometimes she's using those texts and sometimes not. So she know about that, but she's not put that as a prior.
Any other questions?
There's an excellent presentation on Bella on the Northwest Designer Craft Artist website. If you have a chance, look at it. It's very well done.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for that.
Could I add one more thing?
Of course.
This is a Bella Kim in real life.
Yeah, it's Amazon bubble bag. Its process is short.
Well, thank you so much to Bella and June and Bo